Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be talking about $20 bills. Now, most of them, like all 10 of the ones in my hand, believe me, I've checked, are just worth $20, and they're one of the most used bills out there. $20 generally represents something like a little bit more than your average meal. It can get you a good bit of gas to drive around in a car, but what if I said that some of these are going to be worth maybe hundreds or even thousands of dollars just because there's some rare aspects to them? If you look closely, some of them are going to be pretty obvious. I'm still going to go over some of the really cool, wildly messed up error notes, but I'm also going to be showing some ones that seem to have leaked their way into circulation, got past a few eyes because it's some pretty small things that are wrong with the notes, and made their way into the hands of lucky people who eventually identified them. So let's get right into the PowerPoint presentation, and we'll talk about these rare $20 bills. And here's going to be the first error that we cover tonight, the inverted overprint, and you can see that overprint being the Federal Reserve and Treasury seal along with the serial numbers is totally flipped upside down. So essentially it's also misaligned or miscut, but that part did a 180, and this sold for $1,675. I think that's a really drastic error and really looks nice on the note in terms of being super, just different in terms of how it ends up presenting itself. Then we've got this one, which was a major error, selling for $6,900 because the note is totally crumpled up. It's the center portion of two notes that's been conjoined, and it has a return to BEP, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and it also says, if you look closely, it says no value, so technically would not be legal tender, but it snuck out of the mint, and somebody decided to really pay up for it when it came to the auction time. Then there's this foldover error, and I always like sort of weighting these towards notes with relatively recent designs. So this is definitely an example of that. And you can see the serial number is missing over here, and maybe I'm not exactly 100% sure where all of it went, but you can see half of a Federal Reserve sticker on the back, as well as the end of that serial number in the right-hand corner. So I believe that this would have folded onto the front of the note as it was being struck, but then a different portion of it seems to have been sort of lost, and this sold for $1,380. There's also this sweet back-to-face or reverse-to-obverse printing offset, and it's at 45 degrees. From my best understanding, the sheets that were inking came together, and the reverse would have been imprinted on the obverse, that ink. So then when the obverse side of the inking sheet comes down, or onto the ink comes down onto the note, then you get the reverse impression of the back of the ink, and it becomes a $2,990 error, though I'm really unclear on how it would have been offset at 45 degrees. But either way, a great error, and I think a really sort of visually appealing one. This 1996 note is the most famous error note probably of all time. The Del Monte error retained obstruction, basically between the second printing, which is when the face is printed, and the third printing, which is when, again, you do that serial number along with the seals. A Del Monte bananas sticker ends up on the front of the note. A college student found it in an ATM in, I think, 2004 in Ohio. It's been sold multiple times, but jumped from about, I think, $25,000 to $400,000 the last time it was sold in early 2021. There's also this cutting error, which is off. It's off in multiple places because it was not cut properly on the right-hand side of the note, and there's some sort of a tear, but there's also some non-air note that should be on it a little bit above the normal area. So it's got multiple things going on with it. Beat up on the side, circulated a little bit maybe, but sold for $385. The 1950 doubled second printing, really it sort of looks like a double third printing, but maybe they switched up how they were printing back then. You see all of the seals fully doubled. And then you also note a difference between the modern later printings is that it would not include these signatures as well. But in this case, the signatures are doubled. It's been circulated, so it did see a good bit of wear, but sold for $5,750. This 2004 was a printed foldover and also seems to have circulated. I'm surprised that this got out, or people didn't realize it. You can see it's a 45 in terms of the grade out of 70. It was folded. Here's the printed foldover. It looked like it was folded in somebody's wallet. Sold for $445, but I think making it more significant again is how the foldover impacts the serial number and the Federal Reserve stamp. So that was really a nice one somebody picked up. Here is a shifted third printing. So it appears that maybe the sheet of notes was fed in at the wrong angle or at the wrong placing, because the serial numbers are completely off, as are the Fed, but also the Department of the Treasury has two stamps on it. So that probably makes it more rare than if it was just these two shifted. So that's a $4,600 error. Then we've got this missing Treasury seal. Somebody had a good eye to find that because it's not quite as apparent, but if we go back, even though it was way off, there's no Department of the Treasury right here above this, or on top of this 20 symbol. This sold for $470. Then we've got these mismatched serial numbers. This is a really crisp example. So somebody caught it right out of the printing press, or maybe the, in a stack of 20s at a bank. Sold for $3,995, and it's right in the middle. So it's not always going to be, just the last 950. This time it was the fourth digit is off. And this sold again for $4,000. Here is a very similar one where it's still the fourth digit. So it was likely in this run, but it got out, it escaped, and it was in somebody's pocket change, sold for $430, which is still a nice, bonus. If you had found this in your change, makes all the more fun to just look for it and say, hey, maybe I'm going to come out with a few hundred extra dollars today. There's also this third printing inking error. I should know how this, I'm going to make a video not too long after I film this, because I'm really curious how this would have happened, but the inking is incorrect. It's a blue. Interesting that the blues appear a little bit different across the Federal Reserve versus the Treasury seal. Well, this sold for $4,830, and I've seen it on the $5 bill as well. And then there's this retained obstruction where tape was struck on top of, so the tape got on the note again between that second and third printing, and you see I can't even read what that says, exactly which bank it would have been struck at, or which Federal Reserve branch it's distributed, but maybe St. Louis, but the serial number completely on top of the tape, as is part of that serial prefix. So $7,475, a nice chunk of change, but you're probably not going to find this one in yours. And then there's this double denomination, which same thing, a little bit older, but one of the most significant. This is generally thought of as the king of all error types for currency. A $20 bill on the front, a $10 bill on the back, a $37,600 paycheck for the person who found it. This one is a super, super cool error. If I was going to buy a note, I would rather have probably 10 of these than the Del Monte error. And then this one is a misaligned overprint. So similar to the last one, I think we sort of reflect, and this one's circulated. Shocks me how something like this could have circulated so much before somebody caught it. But this time there's only one Treasury and one Federal Reserve, and it's a more minor shift than the last one. But again, $400, a really nice find. So just going back through, I think there's so many different cool errors that I'm so happy to be able to bring you today and talk through. And best of luck finding the next Del Monte note. Maybe it'll be a Chiquita banana or something in a different realm of food preparation, or just something totally different the next time. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. I've also got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so you can follow me there. TreasureTownYT.com is the main channel website. Definitely give that a visit. I've got a lot of information about me up there and the channel. Coingrabbag.com as well currently redirects there, but it's some good opportunities for very fair grab bags, both made by me and other sellers. A lot of different options, so that's a good way to support. There's also treasuretowncoins.com. In the future, my coin dealing operation will be done out of that website. Coinmeltprice.com for updates on the melt prices of your coins, both US and world. A lot of resources in that website. And then coinsmetalscards.com being developed right now as a marketplace and news source for coins, metals, cards, and collectibles in general. So I'll see you on my future videos. Looking forward to seeing you there, and hope you have a good day.